about Jesus. I hear people get up and say you'd have to punch them and gouge them to get them up, and they'd get up and talk out of the corner of the mouth a while. They'd say, well, I've not got the preacher's itch. You call it anything you want to. If a preacher gets to feeling the power of God, he's got some kind of itch. Amen. Because he feels the fire burning in his life. He's going to tell something about Jesus. They call him, they brand anything you want to. Amen. And then a lot of folks say, I ain't got too much to say. And you finally get them out. I used to go to the old-time Primitive Baptist Church, and then have 4 or 5 preachers sometimes separate. And then of course, all of them didn't preach every time, but sometimes they'd all get up and say, well, they said, I ain't got much to say. It took him a long time to get wound up and a long time to get wound down. I'm afraid if he'd have been preaching while he's winding up, it wouldn't have took him so long to wind down. If he'd had that fire burn him in like John had. John had fire burning his life. He wanted to tell them folks, they didn't have to beg him. They didn't have to plead with him to preach, my friend. All he needed was somebody to tell it to. Paul was a preacher like John was. He didn't have to be begged. He didn't have to be punched. He didn't have to be got. He didn't have to be given a week to get ready to preach. He said he was ready. He said we ought to be ready at all times to give an answer of the hope that lies within us. I mean, listen, somebody knocks on anybody's door at midnight, and they ought to be able to tell them about Jesus. Because most of us are wiping our eyes at midnight and can't get awake good. Sometimes it's hard when the clock goes off for us to get awake. But Paul said we ought to be ready at all times to tell the story of Jesus. I'm just preaching today, my friend. Woe unto the preacher if he preaches not. Then if he preaches, he's in trouble today. Amen. You think about it today. I guess probably I'd rather be in trouble with people than in trouble with God. Amen. I mean, listen, I'm just like the old preacher of old said he done gone to be with God. He said, you might listen. He said, if you get God on your trail, you better off with a bloodhound hunting you, because you might get up a tree and get away from a bloodhound, but you can't get away from God. Have you heard about men leaving this country? Have God called them to preach, and they left this country, and they come back preaching. Some of them got on an airplane and flew way out west, thought they'd get away from him. A fellow told me one day, he said, God called him to preach, and he said, I didn't want to preach. And he said, I got on that airplane, flew way out west, and began to ride them horses out there on the prairie. He said, you know where them old horses could have fell in that prairie, one of them prairie dog holes, and broke my neck. But said, God, let me get back. He come back a preaching. You think about that. He said, when I got off out there, he thought he left God back here in Alabama. I think that's where he's from at that time. He thought he left God in Alabama. He said, when I stepped off on the ground off that airplane, he said, God was there. Well, he went with him. He went out there with him. He flew on. He sat there in the seat with him and went with him on that trip. He knew where he was going. Listen, God knew old Jonah was on the boat. God, my friend, caused a storm to come up, and they got ready to throw him off, and God had a fish prepared, my friend. He could live on the inside of it. Somebody said, you don't really believe that, do you, preacher? Jesus believed it. I need to believe it. He said it was with Jonah, and Jonah's 3 days and 3 nights in the fish's belly. He said the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. And I mean the Lord believed. You think the Bible, my friend, will prove itself right. You just be reading along. I think about some of the things they said, oh, there couldn't have been a man like Daniel. And Jesus talked about Daniel when he was here. And then Moses and Samuel, Jeremiah talked about them. God said, Jeremiah, he said, I'm telling you, he said, listen, if Moses and Samuel was here, I said, I wouldn't change my mind. He said, I'm tired of the way them people done, and they got to go. He said, I mean, they're fixing to suffer. And Jeremiah preached to them. It broke his heart to preach that message to them. But he preached to them and told them, said, God is going to destroy this place. It's going down. It's going down. I'm going to tell you, the tribe of Judah, over there in the southern kingdom, it lasted 135 years, longer than the northern kingdom did. But one day, it went too far. You know what they done? They stepped over the deadline. They went too far. And God said he wasn't going to change his mind. Moses talked to God out destroying the people. Samuel, my friend, went in their behalf and said, God, don't do it. And they got God to change his mind. But God said, if Samuel and Moses was here, he said, I wouldn't change my mind, Jeremiah. He said, they got to go. He said, I'm not going to mess with them any longer. And the Bible said they did. They got carried into captivity. And everybody's read the story here. He preached over and over. But you think about it, friend. Listen. We're here today. We're the day of grace. Now, they're living back on the law. We have the day of grace today. Jesus has come. Made it so much easier for us. We don't have to bring a goat or a calf or turtle doves or pigeons up here and cut their throat and try to offer sacrifice. The Lord's already offered sacrifice once and for all and set out the right hand of God. He done took care of it from now throughout eternity. He took care of your past sin, your present sin, and your future sin, all in one. I'm telling you today about a Savior today. And a lot of people, all they need to do, and I think about the man that wrote the prayer, happiness is just a prayer away. Did you know there's people today walking around miserable, uneasy feeling on the inside? All they need to do is just have a little prayer with the Lord, and they get forgiveness of their sins. He come and died on the cross of Calvary to forgive you of your sins and give you a better life. And I want to tell you, the best life you could have is with God. The best life you could have is with God today. I mean, listen, somebody said, I just don't feel like, preacher, I could give up this or give up that. Listen, if you put all that you give up for God, He'll give you something better. You think about it. God will give you something to take His place. It's a lot better if you give it up for God today. You think about it. He wants you to have Him, and He wants to have you today. While they come and get us a verse of song, I don't know your heart, I don't know your life. Maybe this has been a scattered message today. But for any of you here today lost, and you get saved under it, and you live by it, amen, you be ready when the trumpet sounds. When you be ready to meet God when this life is over with. And that ain't all. You can be happy while you're living here. You don't have to be old, my friend, and feel like one foot's slipping in the grave and nothing about to go to enjoy the blessings of God. Young people can enjoy the goodness of God. I mean, listen, it's for everybody. And the Lord wants you. He wants you to be saved today. He wants you to dedicate your life to God today while we stand at our feet. Sing this precious old song. Be honest with yourself. Give the Lord a chance at your life today. He loves you, and He wants to help you. Oh, what about it? Will you just come and let the Lord have His way? I've done what God wants me to do today. It's all left up to you. But remember the service this evening at 5 o'clock. And may the Lord bless you. So I ask Brother Buddy McGregor to dismiss us.